So you might have seen other YouTubers do their reviews of the VG3 golf ball from Titleist. But what you might not know is that there are actually VG3 golf clubs as well. And I'll tell you more about it coming up next. Hey guys, thanks so much for stopping by my channel. I'm Noli, and if you've never been here before, I talk to you guys all about Japanese golf products, from clubs to accessories, even Japanese golf fashion. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you're enjoying the content here, make sure you give my videos a thumbs up. And last but not least, if you don't want to miss anything I put out in the future, make sure you hit that notification bell. So as I mentioned in the beginning, yes, there is a VG3 golf ball, but there are also VG3 clubs. And I was only made aware of this just a couple years ago. I was actually doing research for one of my videos on this channel and reached out to TourSpec Golf. And in a kind of a side conversation, Chris from TourSpec said, and I quote, "VG3 is amazing." So I knew that I had to get my hands on some of these clubs, which eventually I was able to from my brother. Thank you so much, brother. And because of that, we will review the Type-D VG3 irons from 2018 on this video today. But first, let me give you a little bit of a breakdown on the VG3 clubs. So first, the VG3 clubs were originally dropped in 2010. Just a driver and a set of irons at that point in time, I believe. And almost immediately the clubs made an impact on the market. The irons sold out very quickly and were tough to get a hold of after the fact. And that's a trend actually that remained for all iterations of the VG3 clubs. Later versions of the VG3 clubs included hybrids and fairway woods, even a differentiation in irons from players irons to game improvement irons. But throughout the whole thing, not that the other clubs were bad, but generally the irons have been the star for the VG3 line. Now, the original intent for the VG3 clubs was for the mid to high handicapper, but because the clubs looked so good and because they performed so well, better players, even some LPGA or JLPGA and JPGA players, threw them in their bags. As you can see, the clubs perform. Now, for today's review, I'm going to review the Type-D irons from 2018. And as always, we're going to do my review as follows with looks, sound, technology, performance, and price. And I guess with no further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So starting with looks, this here is my 7-iron. And as you can tell, kind of very classic Titleist design. You know, very clean, nothing too offensive about it. Titleist never really goes crazy with their designs. Always really nice and clean with what they've got. As you can tell, it is a thicker club. The Type-D model of the irons was their Type, I think D meaning distance. So it's their game improvement version. There is a player's iron that they released in 2018 as well, which has much more of a sleek profile. But even these, even though they're a bit chunky, even though they're, you know, game improvement irons, they're not offensive in any way. I've seen much worse. And at address, looking down, the top line is still quite thin. They do a good job of kind of hiding the back end of the club. So if that's something that bothers you, and you pick up a set of Type-D irons, that's something that they do a good job of hiding. Next up is sound. I have to admit, because the clubs are forged, I expected somewhat of a more softer, you know, like what forged irons sound like. They sound more solid, more like a punch or a thud. These are a little clicky, to be quite honest, and that caught me off guard. I was not expecting that, but it's not too bad. They're not You know, they're not the worst I've ever hit. They're not the clickiest club I've ever hit, and I got used to it, and you know, very quickly. It didn't take too long. So just not my favorite sound coming off the clubs, but not overly offensive either. Now let's talk about technology. So as you might expect from a game improvement club, they are very strong lofted. So as an example, my 7-iron is 26 degrees. Yeah, that's a pretty strong lofted 7-iron. Now to offset the ball flight, they have, Titleist says, they've thinned out the face, which will help with higher launch. And for the 5 and 7-iron, to further assist with launch, they have hollowed out the 5 and 7-iron heads, which will also not only help with high launch but distance as well. Lastly, there are tungsten weights in both the heel and toe to help square up the club at impact. Let's talk about performance now. So at some point last year, I completely lost my swing. I couldn't hit anything. I was shanking, I was hooking, I was slicing. It was everywhere. I lost a ton of distance. You name it, it happened to me at some point last year. My brother then finds these clubs for me, which I had mentioned to him, and almost immediately they changed my game. They brought my game almost back to 100% within the first couple weeks of me having these clubs. They are forgiving. They are long, as you might expect. They're easy to hit. They were a saving grace for my golf game, let's just put it that way. And I've started to play much better and shoot low scores I haven't shot in a while, and I'm gonna say that's all thanks to these clubs right here. So thank you, Titleist VG3, for saving my golf game. So that's it for performance. Now let's talk about price. So these are 5-year-old clubs from 2018, and I have seen them on Golf Partner USA for about $430, $450-ish, around that area. So yeah, not too bad for a really good set of clubs. So if you're interested in picking them up, that's not too bad a price to pay. So final thoughts. Obviously, I don't think I have to tell you my opinion on these clubs. They literally have been in my bag since end of last year, and they have saved my golf game. As I mentioned, I couldn't hit anything, and then I got these clubs, and they just brought me back to life. I am now shooting scores that I haven't shot in quite some time, and honestly, I attribute it a lot, maybe not all of it, but a lot of it, to these clubs. So that is my opinion of the VG3 Type-D Irons from 2018. And I guess that's it. So if you guys have any questions or anything, any other clubs you want me to review, make sure you hit up the comment section down below and let me know. Just FYI, I do have the 2018 VG3 driver, 5-wood and 3-wood as well. So if you want me to do reviews on those clubs, just let me know, and I'll do them for you. Otherwise, as always, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative for you. And thank you so much, and I guess I'll see you guys next time.